I like to poke the bear.
See if you could come as close to death as possible.
Yeah. I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going for it. I just remember a sandwich made with love.
He's married to this version.
That version.
This guy's one of the most creative guys I know. He has Facebook groups that he built with, I think, what'd you say, over 600,000 members now or something like that?
Yeah. So.
It's incredible. And his story is really unique because, and I know it firsthand, I've lived it with him on his journey, is that he's always been fighting and he never gives up. And I truly believe that's the key to success. And you've exemplified that. So I want you to stick around, listen to the story. We're just going to chat and have a little bit of fun, but you're going to learn some stuff here. So listen up because he's going to drop some nuggets that they're going to be a good time for all of us.
He's putting the pressure on me. I haven't seen him in a little bit. When I come home, man, he's looking all fit and buff, clean shaven. I just came back from an RV trip, so I'm a little on the rough side. So
it's a pillar, man. Faith, fitness number 2. So I'm trying to live out what I teach.
He does, man. I'm seeing those veins and biceps over there. I'm going to go home and start working out. So.
Good. That's how we influence each other.
Yeah, but no, yeah. Sean's my buddy, man, for a long time, and I like to poke the bear. So I'm always teasing, but he teases me right back.
Yeah.
Like he said, I have these Facebook groups. I think they're in 30 different states now, and we're starting to go internationally. So I just started one in Canada. Next up is like Mexico, Dubai, Spain, Argentina, and just try to build the audience with investors and agents around the globe. And
yeah, that's cool.
It's great.
Yeah. So, it looks like, here's what you get most of the time, is people see a conversation where they see what's going on now and they think that, oh, this guy just, he hits it out of the park every time and life's just easy for him because he can't relate to what I'm going through. The whole business owner, entrepreneurial journey and some of those things that there's a long battle along the way. And here's what I want to share. For those of you who know my story, knows that's not the case. He's the same way. Both of us came from pretty much nothing. We didn't have things given to us like that. There was no silver spoon or anything else. And you mentioned a term called blue blood.
Blue blood.
Which I'd never heard before. You'll have to explain some of that.
I don't know if this was a term that was invented by an older brother of mine, but it's pretty much like, if you imagine like Jeff Bezos, as an example, if they had kids. Those kids are born into a world and they just think that's how the world works. And for, say, Sean and myself growing up as kids, we'd be around a lot of people, maybe not quite to that level, but similar ideas. And it's tough growing up trying to compete with that because we're ultimately competitive. But we've been lucky enough to work hard enough to figure ways out that we can. And a lot of times, due to life circumstances, we've been able to exceed some of those guys because they didn't have the same hardships. Yeah. Because the hardships are what give you the calluses to allow you to overcome things to keep moving forward. And man, about him, everything looks good on the outside, but I know he has failures too. Me, I like to tell people I fail more than anybody I've ever met. But the thing is, I'm resilient and I just keep going because I know every time I fail, I'm one step closer. And, so at the end of the day, if I didn't fail, I didn't push myself hard enough.
Yeah, and I teach people, I say, look, business is really simply this. If I were to sum it up, a relentless pursuit of improvement.
Yep.
It's a relentless pursuit. It never stops. And that's what creates the little wins and the stepping stones that kind of give you confidence, encouragement along the way to take the next step. But a lot of people, they hit a failure point and it crushes them and they stop. And they lose the prize before they ever got, you're knocking on the door sometimes. And they quit too soon. Let me ask you this. So we were talking about the creativity side, how, you would find a way. You'd find a way no matter what. I remember we were talking about going back to our dirt bike days.
Oh, yeah.
And we had several, you were the guy who wanted to buy the 500 and, see if you could come as close to death as possible. And ripping around on that thing, which, at 80 miles an hour, it would throw you off as we're racing them down the outer road.
You had fun riding it.
I know, it was fun, but man, it was...
pictures of you riding wheelies on it.
Was I?
Yep, and actually, it was at our farm in Illinois, and I remember that day, because I think I crashed recently before that day, and man, I like to tell people you don't know how far you can go until you crash. And that's how you set your limits. And man, that day we went out to the farm, man, I was kind of gun shy, because I didn't want to get hurt anymore. But you were doing better jobs riding wheelies on my own bike. And I still have those pictures, and it brings me back to that day and what it was. Man, he just had a little more confidence that day, or I just had a little more fear And but yeah, so I love those days.
That's funny because, obviously with the book and everything that I teach is based on the Fear to Fortune principle. And it all really is encompassed in that model, although that kind of pushes towards the real estate side. It really is mindset related, which is how I started the first part of the book. And it always ties back to the same thing. If you can't get that crash mentality out of your head, you can never step into the greatest reality, which is the big wins that come at some point in your life. But there had to be, you mentioned fear. So what shaped your idea of success when you were growing up? Was there a fear that shaped it?
No, it wasn't necessarily a fear that was shaping it. It was more I wanted what the other people had and I couldn't get it. So so maybe there was a fear. Maybe the fear was if I didn't get it, I wouldn't be as good as I needed to be.
Yeah.
But what I would see looking forward was just where I could end up. And it's like you go for a car ride and there's bumps and bruises and you run off the road and all this other stuff. When I see the end, I don't see all that. So that doesn't bother me. I see the plateau.
Yeah.
And my focus is solely on that. So when I run off the road or I hit speed bumps or bumps, I just ignore them and just keep going.
Who shaped your mindset the most?
My mother.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep. And I still, one of the screenshots on my phone is from her. And I think it was a Facebook post that she made. And it was something to the fact that you can do anything you want to do as long as you try hard enough. That's the concept behind it. So I carry that with me. And man, if anything's ever, not going as well or hard, I just look at that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can do it.
So your mom was awesome.
Oh, I love her.
Obviously, I knew her well.
Yep.
And I have to share something about your mom.
Oh, go for it.
So your mom, and you know this, I would just show up sometimes, and if it were like, I think around 7 o'clock, not only your mom, but most likely your sister who lived just a few doors down, I knew exactly where they would be.
Yep.
They'd be sitting at the dining room table, having a few beers together.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times that, I grabbed a seat and we're chatting with them, drinking a beer, whatever else. Just, she was like a mother to all your friends.
Yep.
And she treated me like, I was
loved you.
one of the family and her son. And what an awesome way to grow up and have influence, because not everybody has a mom like that.
And on that, I didn't know that until I became a parent. And I'm like, man, this is hard. And then I look back, I'm like, wow, my mom sacrificed a lot.
Yeah.
Whether it's, say, working extra, or I remember, being a kid and we'd go to like the drive-through and she might only have so much money in her purse.
Yeah.
And we'd split maybe a cheeseburger or something like that. But as you're a kid, like, oh, cool, I get half a cheeseburger. But
you don't know any different.
No. And so that's kind of how I was raised.
Yeah.
And she poured everything she could into me. And like you said, I was spoiled as far as like bacon, eggs, and pancakes in the morning. But I didn't get the physical things.
No, you didn't have a lot of tangible things by any means.
No, I would get excited. I remember
she was just being motherly. She was taking care of you because she loved you and wanted to make sure you ate. And,
and when I was a kid, the kids next door, I consider them rich. They had a 2-story house. We had a single-story house, and
they got a 2-story over there.
Oh man! Every year they would have a garage sale. And I was younger than the kid next door. And I just remember being so excited because Mom would take me over the night before the garage sale. And I could go through all his toys, all his shirts, and I get new outfits. And I'm like, man, this is great.
First dibs, baby.
Oh, yeah. But I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So I appreciate coming from there because now I appreciate stuff so much more. And fortunately with my children, they don't have to do that, but at least I learned how to help them appreciate things.
Yeah.
So
I always share this as well with people. I'm like, from my perspective, the key to success and to building wealth is simple: delay gratification.
Yep.
You can't, if you live to the size of your paycheck, you'll always be poor.
Yep.
And that's why we hear about, NFL players or any of these high-profile, high-paid athletes who end up broke.
Yep.
And you're like, how in the world could they go broke? It's because they haven't learned how to delay gratification.
100%.
And I tell people, I grew up the same way.
Yeah.
You remember Kmart?
Kmart. Well, I remember the store Kmart.
Hey man, we're like a year apart.
I know. I'm trying to.
Don't date me and put yourself somewhere else.
No. I definitely remember Kmart, but I didn't know if we did something at Kmart that you were going to bring up.
No.
Okay.
I don't think we knew each other yet.
Okay. Yeah. So because we do donuts in parking lots and all these different places. I'm like, man, were we doing donuts in parking lots?
Oh, we probably were. I'm not sure.
Drag race in a Kmart parking lot. I just.
No, that was McDonald's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Kmart was. You remember Venture?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So Kmart, Venture, and which
Grandpa
now,
Pigeons.
Yeah. Oh, that place was good.
Yeah.
they're all gone.
Yeah.
So we just dated ourselves to everybody watching this podcast. But Kmart had what was blue light special. And they'd have this little thing on wheels and this pole sticking up and this blue light. And it would flash like a police light or whatever. And that meant, hey, there's a special over here. When we go to Kmart, that's what my mom would be chasing.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember my first new pair of tennis shoes. And it was this Velcro strap across the top. And I'm like, oh, man, it's got Velcro, Mom. Can't I get like shoelaces? She said, no, you can't get shoelaces. That's the blue light special.
Yeah.
So we did the same way. I mean, we would get it from all different types of places where hand-me-downs, if there were any available, those types of things. And the funny thing is, even today, I still exercise. Now, don't judge me, because I know I'm in a different spot. So I buy some good toys and I have a little fun, but the means is there. I'm not living outside of my means. But I still am conservative.
Oh, very.
To a point, because like the wife, she's like, hey, this restaurant, it's like $30 for a plate. And I'm like, why do we need $30 a plate? It doesn't make it better food. It just makes it more expensive. Now, if the food's fantastic, don't give a rip, happy to pay. But when it's like subpar food and I feel like I'm just getting charged more, it still bothers me. It still bothers me. So I'm still conservative. So I think, that way of growing up helps you learn to delay gratification and be conservative no matter what you have at the point. And that, I think, creates long-term wealth.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. It was interesting you're talking about that. It reminded me of, as a kid, I remember my mom would do something called layaway. I don't even know what layaway.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if that exists anymore. I just remember as a kid, we would walk up to this window in a store, and I don't even remember what store it'd be. I don't know if mom would give her the clothes.
Might be Kmart.
Yeah, it might have been. But I just remember it was layaway, and I don't think she got the clothes right away. Maybe she just give her money.
I think it's like you make payments.
Yeah.
You put something, they'll hold it for you, or marketers, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that you would make payments until you could go pick it up.
But I remember going through that, and I don't want to think. I grew up in a nice area. It wasn't like I grew up on a dirt road with like eating crumbs off the floor. But
here's a can of beans.
Yeah, there was,
wasn't that bad.
No,
my dad did though. That's how he grew up.
Really?
Can of beans. That was dinner.
Wow.
Super poor. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's probably because your dad's a good dude. But he's the type of guy that he's worked hard.
Oh yeah, he busted his butt.
Oh yeah, but when you talk to him, you know it, because you can tell a lot of people they've never worked hard in their life.
Yeah.
But so they have different ways to help guide you.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I remember one thing he told me, and I remember where he told me. We were like, I don't know, 20, and we were working at his house.
His house, building walls.
No, we
patio?
were building a patio.
Oh.
And there was something.
That was slave labor, by the way.
Oh man, yeah, we worked hard.
I told him later, like a year ago.
You were probably one of the slave drivers because I was your buddy. So
I don't know. I was being slave too, man.
Yeah.
That's hard work.
But I don't remember what I said, and I don't remember the conversation. But I remember what he said to me, and I never forgot it. And he told me, he said, "Kris, you need to quit spinning your wheels." And I don't know if he ever told you that.
Yeah, maybe once or twice.
Yeah, but it stuck with me. And sometimes I'll be doing something and I'll remember, man, Kris, don't be spinning your wheels.
Yeah.
Basically the idea is wasting your time on something, I guess it's unproductive or not going anywhere. So
it's a great segue into a question that I love asking people, because basically you're talking about spinning your wheels is staying focused.
Yeah.
How do you stay focused in a noisy world, especially today? These business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate agents, all the people that, we're talking to, it's hard, man. And you got, before we started, you're like, hey, can I put my phone over here?
Man.
Yeah. And I'm like, I got to put mine on work mode because otherwise it, bzz, 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 the watch and all this, and everything's after your attention.
Oh, God, yeah.
So what do you do? What's your process? Do you have a way that helps you stay focused throughout all the noise?
It's tough. For anybody, but one of the things with me, when I have a goal, I don't stray typically. If I want something, I go for it. And, a lot of my friends, man, they're like big sports guys. So they're always, checking the sports, what this score team and they want this guy's jersey.
Yeah.
And they think of all those different things. And I've never been that way.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not a big sports guy, because I always want, if I'm going to wear somebody's jersey or a jersey, I want my name on the back.
That's good. Let's make some. Let's get some made.
Well, that's just how I look at it. I'm like, man, why do I want to root for that guy?
Yeah.
I want to spend my time focusing on this guy.
That's good.
And so that's why I've never bought a jersey with another guy's name on it. And
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's just how I go, because I'm so focused on dealing with my failures that I'm trying to fix to go forward. And that's how I focus. I just keep my eye on the prize. And everything else it's just noise.
Yeah.
And I stream focus. And then once I accomplish it, and I usually set big goals, I just go straight forward. And as soon as that one's done, I go to the next one. But granted, I have other things that are going on in the meantime that I have to jump to, but I always have the prize sitting there that I know I have to come back to.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
It'd be interesting to hear your answer, only because, we have, I was trying to calculate earlier before you got here, but I think it's about a 35-year history.
Probably.
Right to you?
I've been friends since we were like 2.
I know, I was thinking that. So people are going to be like, oh, you've been friends since you were 5?
Yeah.
I like yours better.
Yeah. So, man,
good.
we were rolling around diapers together.
We'll leave it like that. Yeah, that's good. Everybody comes to a point where they got to face the truth about themselves to be able to really push past it and move forward. What, if you can remember, something that you had to face to say, look, if I don't address this, I really can't move forward?
Oh, man.
And really, chase after your dreams. What was like a roadblock that you knew you had to face something to grow?
I can give you like a business one. With my groups, 500,000-600,000 people around the country or the globe now, I knew I wanted to go there. The only way I could accomplish my goals is to be able to focus on that. I run another company. So, we do like signs for businesses. My background's in like billboards. So I had to figure out a way, because that business is my primary focus.
Yeah.
That brings in the money to fund, my family's food and stuff like that. So I'm like, I have to have that business running while I build something else. I just can't stop it and start something else. Just like you don't quit a job before you got another job.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out a way for my company to run without me there, for the most part. And, through knowledge from studying other guys that are successful, I figured out how they build teams and they utilize other people, So basically, if I'm doing something, that I could pay somebody $10 an hour to do, I shouldn't be doing it. I need to be focused on something that's worth $1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out how I could leverage the same amount of time to get more done. And that was by building teams and systems and processes to replace what I do. So my hurdle was, how do I make this company keep running, be successful, while doing something completely different? And just failing and creating these processes and hiring people, I've pretty much been able to do it. My company's running completely while I'm sitting here talking to you. Same thing with my real estate groups. I mean, these real estate groups, I have, I think, about 35 real estate agents and investors around the country. They're running my groups right now. I mean, they're the rock stars. I mean, they're making sure the group's posts are getting approved, making sure the spam's getting approved. But by them running it, it frees me up that I can think of the bigger picture, which is growth and building. Yeah. So I leverage a lot of other rock stars to do the work so I can continue going. And then what I tell them is like, hey, I'm going to bring you with me. Wherever I go, you go. If you're with me, hey, just come along for the ride. And that's what tends to work, is if you help enough people get what they want, you can get what you want. I think Zig Ziglar.
Yeah. No, I love that. So in some of the conversations and some of the keynotes I put together has the 7 fears, the 7 most prominent fears. One of them is fear of delegation. And, keep in mind that part of the conversation with the people I have is geared towards business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate agents, those who are high performers or want to be high performance, chasing something more than just, clocking in and out every day. People who want to grow, essentially. And I always share in there as well, my story. I was a slave to fear and doing it all, which is tied to a perfectionist mentality. Nobody can do it as well as you. But, a friend of mine, Dan Martells, says it like this. He's like, 80% done by somebody else is 100% freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, one of the greatest freedoms I learned, and I know you know this, but we'll share it with them, it's probably been said before, is when I noticed that it took more than me, and I was being consumed by the day-to-day, and that was early, I'd say maybe early, around 2013, and at that time I really started pushing into people. Now, and like your story, if I hadn't done that, I would never have the freedom I have today because, man, I have a well-oiled machine as a team. They do a fantastic job. Do they do everything as good as me? No.
Sure.
No. Do they do some things better than me? Yes, because there's some things I hate to do. I hate to do, but I would do them anyway because you get stuck in that entrepreneurial mindset that I have to do it, but you're not putting a value to the task. And even if it's not perfect, 80% done is still 100% better than you doing it yourself. So that was one of the things, just like you said. So, that's a big nugget, is helping people understand that you have to learn to delegate.
It's hard.
It's super hard.
I mean, because, I like to say I'm a perfectionist, but there's different levels of perfectionist. You're a much higher perfectionist. So
hey man, no slamming on this conversation here.
No. But like I said, I like to poke the bear. He's very super organized and boom. So it must be even harder for you than me, but it was super scary. But from studying other successful people, and like I say, you're a mixture of the 5 most people you spend time around.
Yeah.
By being around high level people and you see what they're doing, you're like, man, he's doing it. Why don't I do it that way?
Yeah.
You learn and you're like, man, if I let somebody else do this, granted it might not be perfect, I'm doing something over here. So you're doubling your capacity.
Synergy.
Yeah. And
it's massive.
Oh yeah. And then plus, man, you have so much knowledge that you've learned. I have so much knowledge I've learned, but it's different knowledge.
Yeah.
If I just try to compete with you, you're using your knowledge against my knowledge, and we can butt heads, but if we put it together, we combine everything. And if we combine a few other people in there doing the same thing, it's like, man, the sky's the limit. And it's so much easier because as you get older, your window, you see it collapsing and it's getting shorter and shorter. It's like, man, how do I get there? I'm running out of time. And I don't want to work the whole time. I want to play too.
Yeah.
So you become more efficient with age, I think. Yeah. And I think you become efficient with age by failures and learning.
I agree, and I think that's a big key component, because it's like, you see people who are around the 40 mark, and they still think, I got plenty of time. And it usually comes, I think, around your age, maybe that upper age limit, like around 45, 48, and all of a sudden that bulb goes off. There's that poke back. That bulb goes off, and you start realizing, holy crap, I was thinking, man, I'm like 20 years from being where my parents are today. Now, in all transparency, I'm 53 today, and they're 25 years. They're in their mid to upper 70s, but I see them and I'm like, there's not much time. There's not much time. So the pressure gets on, and you get a little bit of focus and clarity, thinking, look, if I want to accomplish that goal, I got to get moving. I got to get moving, and that's where I always teach people propel prosperity, the triple
100%.
P's. And if you can't learn to embrace the people around you, you will never reach your greatest potential.
Oh, 1,000%.
Iron sharpens iron, so you're right on. The things that it's not the things that I know, but together, we know some good stuff.
Oh, 100%.
And we can bounce ideas and collaborate. So the people who are not using their network around them are the ones that are going to struggle. And I did that for years.
Oh, I did too.
Through fear, because, I was chasing the grind. And I had nowhere to go, and the only mentors I had were like in a book or something like this. But, by the way, I always tell everybody, look, if you had no mentor, it only costs $12 to $15 to grab a book or buy an audio. And man, it's the greatest stepping stone to get yourself around some different thinkers.
Oh, yeah.
That's really what it is. And that's a great growing point.
I know when I was younger, like a lot of people, they get coaches and mentors. And when I was younger, I had a different mindset on, like, oh, I could figure it out. I could do this. I could read. But you run out of time. It's so much easier if you have somebody, it can just say, this is what you need to do. Or maybe I'll help you and I'll make sure you're following this. And then you just instantly do the finish line. So I think if there's somebody out there and they're trying to figure out what to do or how to do it, don't listen to these guys say, oh, that coach is a scam or that. I'm not a coach, so I'm not telling you because I'm getting anything from this, but many of my friends are, and there's different levels. Just look to see who your coach is or your mentor. Check them out. But if you can find the right one, if you're seriously interested in being successful, man, talk to them. Have them set you up. There's so many ways they can help you to shorten you to the finish line, and then you can go play with your family.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And it doesn't have to cost 50, 100 grand or hundreds of thousands of dollars just because you see like a Tony Robbins or some of these big names, that are out there that are charging that. Obviously, you don't, a person who's at an entry level doesn't have access or capital for that.
Books, so.
There are books, and there are people at all different levels that can mentor you along the way until you get there. But I agree. I think it's crucial to success to have collaboration with people who know something different than you, to help you kind of get through that barrier.
And what's interesting, these groups and stuff, I started them maybe 3 years ago. And before that, I spent I mean, literally thousands of hours. I mean, people might say like thousands of hours. No way. A lot of it started around COVID.
Yeah.
Everything got shut down. My company got shut down. I can't sit still. I couldn't leave the house. The government's like, you can't leave. I'm like,
watch me. I'm leaving.
I know. I'm like, I can't work. So from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, I mean, my eyeballs would bleed.
Yeah.
It was just watching podcasts and reading books and reading articles. And I'd always read books and podcasts before, but nothing like that. And so all these people's books I read, a lot of them, now they didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
But in my mind, they were my buddies.
You knew them.
I knew them because I studied them. I mean, so many. And I'll give me Brandon Turner, Bigger Pockets. Man, I read 2 or 3 of his books. I watched, man, I can't tell you how many. I used to check them off, just every one, because he had a different guest with it, which had new knowledge. Now he's in my cell phone. Now we're working together. He has a lending platform. And if you're not seeing it, well, you will. Look at my groups. You'll see me with Brandon Turner talking here soon, but you're also going to see his lending program, and they're for investors. So by reading these books, you get to learn who you want to be around.
Yeah.
And then you can gravitate towards them. And the next thing you know, you might be working with them. The guy you're talking about earlier, he talks about the vein. Do you got that vein, Dan?
Oh, Dan Martells?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Do you have that vein? Have you seen that video?
No, I haven't.
He has a video. He's like, you can tell a lot from a person by how they look, if they're in shape or something like that. Look at those guns.
I might have the vein.
I've been out of town for a couple weeks, so I need, I need to step up my game.
You left your vein in an RV. Okay.
I've been eating potato chips and trail mix and soda for the last couple weeks.
Nice.
So we should have filmed this a few weeks ago.
Right.
But anyway, he said you can tell a lot of people by how they physically look, because that's just a form of dedication.
And discipline.
I mean, you just don't get that way. I mean, that's hard work and determination.
Yeah.
And but when you brought his name up, I was in, because I spent maybe 2 years traveling all over the country, going to all these real estate and success events, meeting people, and becoming friends with all these speakers. And one of them, and it might have been Dan, because I think I was in Vegas, and this guy was talking, and I was there to see Brandon Turner and some of these other guys, and I didn't know that guy, so I wasn't really paying that much attention. And but then something that was said, and I think it was Dan actually, because later on I figured out who he was. I'm like, man, that guy's sharp.
Yeah.
Now I pay attention to him. I bought his book because you read it.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to read it yet. It's been sitting there. But
just a plug, buy back your time if you're curious what that book is. Great read.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't met him. I'm not friends with him. And it might have been him, or it might have been somebody else. But I do have a quote that he uses that I implement. But this other one, it was knowledge. I think it was, he'd rather have knowledge on, or what is it? You have to back this up.
On fire.
Knowledge on fire versus knowledge on ice. Or no, ignorance on fire versus knowledge on ice.
Right, that's it.
Is the quote.
Yep.
And man, that stuck with me. And it's almost every day I'm thinking of that.
Yeah.
Ignorance on fire versus knowledge on ice. And that's something I live by.
Yeah.
And it might have came from Dan on stage, but he said some things on stage in Vegas, and I started listening. I'm like, man, this guy's good. And so I've implemented a lot of his strategies. So Dan, if you're out there and you're listening, hey man, it's great. One day we'll have to touch base.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We were talking for a few weeks on some challenges, business things that I was going through, and he's real. He's a real guy. So, but it just ties back to the importance of people influencing you to help you push into the next level.
And that's what I was saying is how by having mentors or coaches or studying these books, you can learn these types of things that guide you. And one of the other things, I think it came from Dan, was that I give my assistant, and I might mess it up, but it's kind of summed up: if there's a problem, don't come to me.
3, 2, 1.
That's it.
Yep.
And I might mess it up, because it's been a while since I had them implement it, but they use it. And the core premise is, if there's a problem, first try to find some solutions. Yeah. Then go through those solutions.
Don't come waste my time until you've put some mind space in it.
100%.
Yeah.
Figure out what you think is the best solution. And then once you have that solution, then approach me and say, this is what I think we should do, if it's something that I need to even be involved in. And if I wouldn't have got on that airplane, I wouldn't have gone to that event, I wouldn't have sat there and learned from them, I wouldn't have even thought of that. So
totally. It's funny. You know what I say? So my whole premise now is to do as little as possible.
100%, me too.
And and everybody knows that at my office, whatever else. So I'm like, if anything comes to my desk or a problem, I'm like, who else can handle this? Yeah. Not me. And so now they've heard me many times where I'm like, what do you need me for?
Yeah.
Why are you in here? Mm-hmm. Why are you in my office?
Yeah.
And it's not, they understand the premise behind it, that I'm trying to push them and stretch them to say, look, you have the capacity, you already have my support, to the people who should be able to make this decision. So why are you coming in here essentially asking me what appears to be a dumb question because you've made no effort at all to find a solution? And you're just as intelligent as any human being with that God-given brain inside your noggin. So come up with a solution. Then, which is the 3-2-1 process. I'm just a little more honoring. So then, I'm like, then come back. And if you need assistance because you can't figure out, 1 or 2, okay, I'm happy to be a soundboard. But don't bring your problem to me to fix. You fix it. Isn't that why you're on payroll?
Yep. And I know, you got systems of I remember one, it was a seven-step process on how to clean something. And then you had it dialed in. There was no mistake. So I know you are organized, and if they're coming to you, it's like, man, look at that process.
I have issues sometimes.
No, it's just, it's efficient.
Yeah.
I mean, if you lay it out, somebody else can look at it and they can duplicate. So
the point is, look, what we're really talking about is people having the courage to make decisions, but you got to make them fast. You can't piddle around with them. So, the mentorship is great. You need that for sure. But to be successful also, you have to learn to make decisions and push through, because if you sit too long, the narrative in your head will build up this whole nother story, and you get mixed up in analysis paralysis. Which
analysis, man, my buddy Cole.
Huge.
I know you know Cole.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Man, when I would spend all that time studying, he kept saying that to me, analysis paralysis, and he'd say it into like sentences, and it wasn't directly directed to me all the time, but I know it was directed at me.
Yeah.
But you need successful people around you to push you.
Right.
And basically he was saying like, hey man, the time is over. Stop studying these guys. You've studied long enough. Now you need to act.
Yeah.
And that's when I started building out these groups and working on all these different things. But it was from those little pushes, and I'd leave. I'd go home, and in the back of my head, I'm playing it. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? Take action, immediate action, go. And it's been very helpful.
It's funny. There's a term called pathological avoidance.
Oh, I don't know it.
It's when, and I share this with people because I'm somebody who's suffered with it, and most people do. It's when the comfort of avoidance becomes more familiar to you than the discomfort of growth, which keeps us trapped in these cycles of analysis paralysis, procrastination, and some of those things where we just can't ever move forward. Yeah. And they actually came out with I've been teaching it for years, but they actually came out with a term that coined pathological avoidance. I'm like, wow, look, it is a real thing. It's not just me. But it's that thing, spinning your wheels is the same thing.
On that, there's, the story of the bulls and was it the buffalo or the bulls and the cows? Is it the buffalo and the cows? I think it's like buffaloes and cows. I might have the animals mixed up, but you'll get the concept. The idea is when, say they're in a field and a storm's coming. In other words, problems are coming. The cows, they turn and they run away from that storm. And they're trying to get away from it, but that storm's still coming. And what happens is eventually that storm is going to hit them. And when the storm hits them, they're in that storm for a long time because they're running and the storm is trying to overtake them. Whereas the bulls or the buffaloes, they have the opposite mentality. They're like, okay, here's this problem. It's coming. I can't avoid it. I can run and it's going to chase me, or I can go right into it. And they turn and they run straight into it. They solve the problem, they pop out the other side, and then they're on to the next thing. So that's one of the things I always keep in my head is like, man, leaders run to problems because they know they're not going anywhere. They have to solve them. They solve them and they move on. So,
so what happens to the cows?
They're screwed, man. They're still running.
These cows are gone, man. There's steak on somebody's plate now.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on the bulls and the buffalo next to me, because we're trying to go through them and pop out the other side.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, we're chatting about all different variants of just trying to take forward momentum and success and some of those things and some of the challenges we've learned along the way and some of the important things. How do you balance impact versus income?
Give me more details on that.
I would say,
like impact on your family because you're
just in general. I mean, we talk about helping others, and the more people you help, the more things that seem to come back to you.
1,000%.
Being a go-giver.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? To say, hey, where do I draw the line versus am I giving too much time to that versus, in other words, which would be impact versus just chasing income.
I could go down a couple different ways, and I'll touch on a couple of different things, and we can kind of tie it together. One, if it comes to because we only have 24 hours a day, we got to focus. And I'm going to jump. That reminded me, one day I had my assistant call you. And I'm like, man, my assistant call you? And you're like, yeah, she was wasting my time. and that stuck with me.
I'm not the most patient person.
Yeah, I know, but, and I think the idea was behind it, if I would have called him, it would have been a shorter conversation, he would have saved minutes, and he would have continued on his task. Whereas when my assistant called, she might have had to explain some things more, and Sean's probably like, what do you want? Why are you calling me? Why? So it's burning as daylight. Yeah. So one thing I try to do is be efficient, but if I'm helping somebody, I'll help them, but I want to make sure the person I'm spending my time with, they want to help themselves.
Yeah.
And if I feel that if I'm helping this person and my time, which is so valuable, which could be going that way, is not efficiently helping them where they're actually taking my knowledge and moving forward, I'm like, man, I don't got time to help this person. Right, I'm going to move to the next person.
100%.
Because I help people every day, and I want to help people because it's a good feeling when you can help somebody, because a lot of times when you get to a certain point, you can see somebody, you're like, man, I see their mistakes. Just like if you're a great baseball player and you see somebody playing baseball and you see their mistakes, like, man, if they just did this or that, you can make one change and help them. And if I tell somebody, hey, if you just did this and try it, and they're not doing it, and I do it over and over again, I'm like, man, I don't want to spend my time with that person. I want to go over here because that person might take my information, try it, and be like, wow, okay, it did work or it didn't work, but it did work. Let's go to the next thing. And then I can focus going on. So that's one way I might balance it, is just give them a little bit of time and see what they do with it.
Yeah.
Another thing when it comes to, like, say, families and stuff like that, when you want big things, it's just not happening. You got to
talk about like a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crap.
You got, oh man, you got
tell everybody there's no such thing.
Oh man,
there's no such thing.
You got to grind. So if I see somebody and they're super successful, and I have a conversation with them, like, it tells me who that person is really quick. Unless they were blue blood and everything was just here, they put the hard work in. They ground, and I do the same thing. I'm like, man, I'm going to grind, but the idea is there's a finish line. If I grind really hard right now, and I tell my family, I'm like, hey, Dad might not be there all the time. I might not be doing everything I can, but I'll do my best. But just let me focus, because I know if I focus, we're going to get to the finish line. And then there's a lot more of me. Yeah. There's a lot more time that we can do fun stuff, but you gotta trust me. So that's kind of how good. I balance those two different times.
Yeah, that's good. And so I went through a season where the business took so much of me. Mm-hmm. And it was a couple different seasons. It was one after 2008 recession where in 2010, and I was sharing this with somebody else, after the recession was at its deepest point for us, because we lost so many clients, the majority of them. My income in 2010 was $35,000. Yeah. Wow. And I'm like, how in the heck did we survive? Now, life's a little bit different now.
Sure.
We get to live like, we never could have dreamt of.
Sure.
So it's pretty exciting, but I held on and kept that fight. But I had to have an agreement because my marriage was falling apart. Mm-hmm. Not through that season. It was tough because we had babies and everything else, raising kids. But years later, through another season where it came, and there was a little bit of a dip, and it was like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but either I get in and fight, do everything I can, whatever it takes. But look, hon, I'm not going to be here, to sit there on the couch and watch TV with you. Yeah. So we had to come to an agreement, my wife and I, and help her understand, look, you can't have it both ways. Yeah. First of all, it's going to drive me insane. I'm going to be a jerk if you can't let me be who I need to be, because I have this business that carries us all. Mm-hmm. And, she's always been a homemaker. Sure. So makes it even more challenging because there was no backup income available to help tie in the loose ends when the business was bad. So now I look back, and if I had done better with that and making that agreement and her understanding, now, only by the grace of God, we're still married, just clocked in 30 in January. Wow. So she re-upped for another year. So we're still in good shape.
That's way above the odds.
Yeah, so we're in a good space now, but we had to relearn how to connect with each other because that grind can leave a trail of carnage behind. Mm-hmm. And that's what it did for me. So I think you hit the nail on the head in communicating with your family and your loved ones to understand when you're a business owner and entrepreneur, there is a price to pay. It's not going to come for free. It's hard. If you want the prize at the end, someday you're going to wake up and be able to live like others can't. Yeah. But you're not going to be able to do it unless you do the work now. Yeah, and on that, what's interesting, and I've seen this a lot of times with people who say been married a couple times, they might have a new wife or whatever. That new wife is married to the successful guy. He's married to this version. That version of the guy. Yeah. That ain't the guy who built everything. That ain't the guy who was ornery, who was stressed out.
Couldn't sleep at night.
Exactly. That's a good point.
That was the other guy.
Yeah.
And not to knock women around, sometimes it's worth sticking around because there is a rainbow and there's a pot of gold there. But when you see your man, he's struggling, support him. I mean, or woman, husband, whatever, because, there's a lot of successful women that I deal with as well.
For sure.
But your partner, let them fail. Because every time they fail, they're one step closer, and there's a finish line, and it can be you. But you got to go through that grind. So
that's good. I just had a conversation. So there's this couple, they're about 40, and they're business owners, and they work together. And we just had that conversation. because they're at odds against each other. And I'm like, look, you've got to get on the same page. If you want this relationship, this is where all the damage comes from.
Yeah.
So if you can't agree that, hey, we get and we understand what this picture looks like, and I'm going to love them through it, somebody's got to play the support role for whoever's carrying the most. In my relationship, it was me, and I told Corey, I'm like, look, I only need one thing from you. Now, this was after the fact, so she didn't know it. So thankfully, we're still put together, and resolve a family. But I told her, I said, I really just need to feel loved.
Yeah.
I just need to feel loved and supported.
A sandwich made of love.
A sandwich made with love. Yeah. I know where you got that from.
You.
Yeah.
And I'd use that.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. I'm like,
nothing like mom.
Yeah. Don't just take a couple pieces of bread and slap some cheese on there and slap some lunch meat on there.
Don't slap some cheese on that bread.
Yeah. I want a sandwich made with love.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's a solid point.
Yeah.
And I got that from you. And I remembered it, obviously, and that was a long time ago.
Should we give context to that?
No, you can. Yeah.
So, my mom, like your mom, if she were to make me a sandwich.
Oh, is this where that story came from?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember where it came from. I just remember a sandwich made with love.
Yeah. So if my mom would make something for me, she would make a sandwich and she'd put lettuce on it, tomato. I mean, she would make me a sandwich with love. And you're like, wow, that's a good sandwich, man. And in the early years where Corey and I were married, she'd like throw a chunk of meat between two pieces of bread and be like, here. And I'm like, what is that? I need a sandwich made with love.
Yeah.
That's not how my mom would make it for me.
Yeah.
And so it was a growing point for both of us.
Sure.
But it really is. It's about the support and showing that
and those little things.
Yeah, I'm behind you. I back you up, and we're going to do this together, and it makes all the difference. Makes all the difference.
100%.
That's good stuff, man. Let me let's as we kind of bring it home. Let me ask you this question. What one thing would you tell your 20-year-old self? What one thing would you tell your 20-year-old self? Which I remember that guy, so this is going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Today, if you had an opportunity to do so.
Well, man, there's lots of things.
Yeah, you can do lots of things.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Pick one.
If I had to pick one thing, I think I would probably say set your pride aside and learn more from others. Don't think you know it all, because you don't.
That's good.
And because I don't know about, I mean, most people, I'm sure, the same way. Man, you're young, you think you know everything.
You got a big ego.
Oh, God. Yeah. And it's hard to get past that. And if I would have got past my ego sooner, my eyes would have opened up sooner. I would have learned more sooner, and I'd have been further than where I am now sooner. I mean, not that I'm not in a great place. I'm in a fantastic place, but I could have got there sooner instead of, I can do it. I don't need to do that. And, I've learned.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, the question becomes, how much further could I actually be right now had I embraced that early on and got past myself?
I'll give you a perfect example. Man, it was with you. One thing that just stuck in my head, and probably 20 years ago or whatever, I was telling you about, it was actually about a certain mutual fund that somebody said, and you probably won't even remember those conversations. And
it's like Pri-America or something.
No. This was
some pyramid scheme.
No. It was a legitimate one. Somebody was like, "Hey, man, you need to put your money here, and you got to, you'll get 12% annually." It was a legit thing. I
didn't have any money, Chris.
Well, no, but your comment was, "I'm not going to do that. I got another plan, or I'm going to do it myself with real estate or something like that." At the time, maybe I don't even know how old I was, but what I should have done at that time, instead of just have a closed mind and just focus on this mutual fund, 12%, I should have been like, hey, all right, well, what's your plan?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the real estate? And I might have learned a lot more instead of thinking I know everything at the time. So I think by putting my ego aside, like in that situation, I could be like, oh man, Sean's a sharp guy. What's he going to do? Where's he getting this? And you had some great mentors. Charlie, man, he's wonderful, and man, you're learning some things from him.
You mean the guy named in the book, Charlie?
Yeah, that guy. It's in your book, which is a great book. If you haven't read it, you should. Man, I'm so busy, and I got so many of these books I haven't read that I need to. But as soon as I got his, I'm like, man, it was over. Man, it didn't take me long. Man, I crammed through it because it was great. And plus, I told him I lived through it.
Yeah.
So cool. I know not all the stories, but I know where it was going. I know your process. I know your mind from spending so much time with you, and it was wonderful. So if you're looking for direction, grab his book. Like I said, I don't get anything from it, but it'll help.
Guess I got to buy you lunch now.
Oh yeah, a good lunch.
No.
And I'm gonna be telling them, hey, I want a sandwich made with love.
A sandwich made with love, right?
Yeah,
that's good when you pulled that out of your head quick.
But
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Another valuable point that I learned is don't necessarily rely on other people.
Oh yeah.
And it took me a while to learn that if I can just rely on me,
yeah,
I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going for it. And if I can put as much under my control as possible, I know it's going to work because I don't give up.
Yeah.
And so as people are going through their journeys, if you kind of think about that, watch what other people are controlling and through lots of things, investments, jobs, try to have as much control as you can or try to partner with the experts.
Yeah.
So
that's good. Love that. All right, we're going to close it out. There's going to be one last question.
Yeah.
Today was your last day.
If today was my last day?
Today was your last day.
Yep.
Last day you're going to get to see this pretty face.
Yep.
Last time we're going to get to hang out. Mm-hmm. I know your family's more important, but you know, I'm in there somewhere too.
Sure.
And there was only one fragment of a conversation that you could leave behind.
One fragment?
One word, one seed, you know, one sentence or one thought that you could leave as conversation left behind that would be encouraging or something that you feel like would just, you know, represent what you would like to leave, even if it's your kids or your wife, you know, hearing it from you as a soundbite at some point.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I think it's, first thing that comes to mind, I think it's pretty easy. If you always do as you always did, you always get what you always got.
Yep.
And you know, fail.
It's good. It's good.
Because you don't know. Just keep going.
It's truth, brother.
Yeah.
I love it. Man, I appreciate you.
Oh, man. Before we go, I like to say, this guy's my phone a friend. Years ago, there was a TV show, and man, if there was a problem, you need an answer, who are you going to call? Who are you going to list? And it's this guy. So I respect him, I appreciate him, and I don't know how, but no matter, it seems like whenever I'm working on something, if I can't figure it out, I ask him, and he knows the answer. I don't know how, and it's frustrating.
That might be a figment of your imagination.
No, but I don't come to you often, but he's a solid guy. He's got great advice, and I pay attention to what he says because it took me many years to probably listen as much as I should. So, like I said, when I got here, you know, today, I'm like, all right, my ego's at the door.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I appreciate you.
I love you, buddy, and your family.
Love you too.
So you're family to me. 35 years in.
That's right, man.
That was fun. Let me ask you the big question, because there's going to be a lot of people who are like, "Wow, that was really some heavy stuff," and I can learn from this guy. Or how do I connect with this guy? Where can people find you?
The easiest thing I have is a basic link tree, and it has pretty much all my groups on there. It has lots of different opportunities on there as well, from like leads to like lending to property management, all kinds of stuff. And if you go to grandchateauproperties.com, so it's GRANDCHATEAU properties.com.
Okay, and we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, and you can find everything there. But yeah, reach out. I'm here. So I get questions and try to help.
That's awesome. He's a go-giver, so I'm sure that he means what he says, and he's always helping somebody. So, man, thanks for showing up today, and it's always fun to just hang out. You know, even though we're only about 15 minutes from each other where we live, still we don't get a lot of one-on-one time to hang out in person like this. But it doesn't matter how long the gap. We're always really close buddies, and it will always be that way for us. So, hey, thanks for doing life with me, and thanks for sharing some of your stories. Sometimes not always fun, sometimes we laugh, sometimes it's embarrassing or awkward because it didn't go the way you want from failures. But it's here either way. And there's a lot of people who are going to learn from this.
Not to mess up the ending, but man, I was hoping you were going to say, what would we go do? If it was just you and me and we only had a little bit left, I'd be like
right now, you want to hop on one of the...
No, I was going to say...
Go do some donuts?
Dirt bikes. We would just, if the family wasn't involved and all that stuff, it's just me and you, what are we going to do? I'm like, man, we're going to go get some big dirt bikes and we're going to go rip it to pieces.
Let her rip.
Yeah.
Let her rip.
That's where I'd go.
I'm there with you, buddy.
Yeah, I know. So
that's good. Hey, if you got something really interesting from this, leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys and hear, what was sparked interest to you or maybe was motivating to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments too. Otherwise, there's a whole slew of videos coming from really incredible guys like this. So stay tuned and check out the next video. We'll see you next time.